All right, it's 5:30. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Next is considering the agenda adjustments. Are there any? One for me. Okay, moving on. Next, is there any public comment here or on the web? Is there, Alexander, do you have anything to say for the public comment?
No comment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Would you-
When we come back from the dedication, we're gonna ask you all if you have anything you'd like to add to the dedication. So you can speak about anything else right now, but you could also wait till the dedication happens. There will be an opportunity, is the point.
Okay, and then after that, we will go to the conference room dedication.
All right, so for folks online, you're gonna kind of miss it because we have to step out of the room. We'll keep it rolling and maybe you'll hear a little bit, but we're gonna, as at least the trustees know, we're gonna be doing a dedication to this conference room. And so that happens for those of us that are here right outside the door. So maybe you'll be able to hear something. And there's mics on all sides of it. But then we will come back in after the dedication and let folks that came in to visit with us add any of their thoughts beyond what the chair says for the unveiling. Okay, does that work for folks? We're gonna ask you all if you're willing. Kevin has a camera. We'd like to get some pictures so we can send them to you and put them on social media and all that fun stuff. And so just so you're aware. But for those of you online, I'm gonna keep this rolling, so maybe you can hear something. And otherwise, we'll be right back.
It might be on the seat too.
Maybe you'll see the back of Tom.
Good view. Okay. All right, we have it on? Okay.
We were short, you can be a. All of us can be over.
Okay, welcome to our the dedication ceremony of our so-called round room, minus the round table. Many thanks to Bill Pickens for bringing the suggestion for dedication to this room. And thanks to the relatives of Bob Page who are here tonight, Tom, Richard, and as well as the community members. Yeah, Peter, thank you. Anybody else back there? Recently, the village trustees voted to dedicate the round room as the Bob Page Conference Room. Bob was a longtime employee of Water and Light, dedicating a good portion of his working life to service to our community. A portion of this service was as manager here. During his request for the recognition of Mr. Page, Bill Pickens shared with us all that in addition to his many good works here, the idea and concept of our new offices was instigated by Bob while they had at that time reached the site. Instigated by Bob while they at that time rejected the site due to worry about environmental contamination, because they had come up with a plan for a new building, but at the time it didn't work out. But this is basically what they wanted, envisioned for this building here. In light of the many years of service to the village, his tenure as manager and his vision that became this facility, the village trustees voted to name this conference room the Bob Page Conference Room. The inscription on the plaque reads as follows: Bob Page Conference Room. This conference room is dedicated to Bob Page in appreciation for his long tenure of leadership at the Morrisville Water and Light. Among his many accomplishments, Mr. Page began the process of finding a new home for the Water and Light. A process was concluded with the construction of this facility. With that, I'm happy to unveil the plaque. Drum roll. And if you'd like, we can go back into, well, we can take some pictures here, and then after that, we can go back to the conference room and swap stories if you have any.
Well, if you all want to get rid of it, or it's Kevin to take a picture of you underneath, and Tom, you got to be part of that. I don't know, get out of the way.
And Peter's a relative too. I got this on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't, if you all will just move right up there, if you have phones you want to take pictures with, and go, and,
You older guys are fun. Just saying, you know. Looking a little wider than you.
Thinking about it. Thinking, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure. Bill, we need to get you in here too at some point. Yeah.
Anonymous.
Yeah, you, all your life have been anonymous. And one for good luck. Bill, let's get one, Bill. Get one from the Bill. You worked with Bob for God knows, you know, how long? All right. For framing it. Yeah, the post office.
I think these pictures are there. Let's go back in and we'll hear from all of you. Well, maybe we got the soil on, maybe we're in practice. Those of you online, thank you for your patience. Appreciate it. I think the idea, Mr. Chair, was just to open the floor to hear what folks want to
Yes,
add.
definitely. Let's hear, if you have anything to say further.
Yes, on behalf of Tom and, our other brother John and the family, I would like to thank the, Water and Light Commissioners for, bestowing this, honor on Dad. And, I'm sure he'd be pleased, if he were here tonight. And I want to especially thank, William, and known as Bill, for his efforts in making this possible. If Dad were here, he would not have told us about this event. We would wake up in the morning and his presage and Mother Mary would say that something went on at the Water and Light office last night. And that's how we'd hear about it. And then we would go out and do something to totally embarrass him. Something to that effect. So we appreciate this. And it's a great room. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I'll just echo what Dick said, and thanks to Bill and Water and Light Commissioners or organization. Thank you.
And any of the stories that we could tell, we wouldn't want recorded.
Thank you.
Well, I think that, you know, Uncle Rob was, you know, I don't know how many years. I always, I mean, he did a little work before he, but 40 years, I mean, it had to be pretty darn close, or two.
Yeah, he started, I think, in the early 50s.
Yeah. So
32 years.
32 years.
32 years, yeah.
And like that.
And it was before backhoes had been invented.
Yeah. But I think, you know, obviously his insight and, you know, of course, he worked with Willard.
Oh, yes.
So I'm sure there's give another case, there would be stories that we'd love to know and share, but, yeah, Uncle Rob was really important. And I know he worked with you well, Bill, and like that, and, you know, I think it's great that, you know, he gets noticed even at this time, and these old gentlemen next to me get to see, some of the accolades that he did richly deserve, so thank you.
Well, when Bill was hired, Dad was quite pleased, that the commissioners at the time had agreed to hire him. They were kind of kindred spirits, and, I think at the time, you lived over, off Congress Street there, and were, doing some rehabbing over there on the house, and, got into some mischief, and so he was quite concerned, when that occurred, and, was worried that he was gonna lose you, so.
I tried not to get into mischief, but it kept following me. I will say, I worked with Bob for 11 plus years. he was my mentor, because I came here fairly green, out of college and 1 year at the co-op. But Bob was the type of leader that said, okay, this is what we need to do. Go do it. Let me know when you got it done. And basically stood back and let you go. And that apparently was what I needed. Because it worked for me. And I did get into a lot of mischief over it. And as you all know, being a small town, it's not hard to get into mischief. But, basically, when you get up in the morning, you open the door. But with Bob, it was, don't worry about it, just do your job. All you have to do is answer to me. And it worked out well for him and I for 11 plus years. I would venture to guess that I basically love Bob. He's a gentleman. I wish that I had done this years ago. It's been on my mind since I got done that I needed to do it. And it finally dawned on me that, Bill, if you don't do it, somebody is never gonna get it done. And I'd like to thank the board here for their help in getting it done. And your approval. That includes the snowbird up there. And the other members of the board that aren't here tonight.
Thanks, Bill.
Get your TV in yet?
Nope.
Hire somebody. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for doing this and thank you for the stories. Without that, yeah, you know, it's a shame that we would have never even known about Bob and what he had done, unless somebody had brought it up and got our attention to it. I'm glad you did that, because I think we owe it to the people, because we have some hard workers that have been here and they're still here. And I think that needs to be, those people need to be recognized, too. So thank you.
Tom? I'd like to just say congratulations to all concerned. It's good to see the Page Boys again. And I really appreciate Bill's efforts in shepherding this through. It is a well-deserved tribute.
Right below. Well done. Thank you. Anything else? Yeah, right. It's hard just to stop there. I understand it. But thank you again, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for everyone today.
I think the liberal left, they'd like to have a jar of white lightning right here.
Exactly. All day long. Keeps us going.
Thank you, William. Let me know if you're catching any coyotes.
Well, I can tell you.
All right, let's see. Okay, next, moving on to approving the minutes of January 3rd.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, little delay. Okay. Next, check register approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the check registers.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the check register, say aye.
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 Ayes have it. And now next is the 2024 budget approvals.
Great. So we walked through a few meetings of kind of build-up dialogue to this, and so I won't repeat that whole process for you. I don't think anything that in the packet is something new that we didn't at least highlight was likely coming your way. But suffice to say that, you know, the fiscal pressures that we've been feeling for a long time now are finally here, and so we've made recommendations to you to both. We need you tonight to do three things if you're ready, and if you're not, we'll do it at the next meeting. But the three things we're asking you to consider is to approve all three budgets. To approve a 2% rate increase on the electric rates, all tariffs, and to approve a 5% increase on the water rates, all tariffs. And obviously, as noted in the background materials, the 2% is not it for this year. It's just, that's what you can do in an easy process, and then you'll have to do a rate case filing once we finish the audit for the year and can follow the state process for doing that. So there'll be a subsequent action to make up the rest of what the revenue needs are. But first, you know, I thought you haven't really seen all of this, and so I thought it might be, if you'd like to, I thought I'd have Penny just walk you through these budgets, unless you think you've seen them enough, then, and either way is fine with us, just whatever is your pleasure. She's prepared to walk you through if you'd like, and if you think you've seen them, that's fine too.
I did want to just clarify one thing, only in that, yes, we need the approval for the 2% for the electric to get going, but the budget does in fact include two pieces of a rate
Right.
increase.
That's good.
So you are approving, the projection of another type of rate increase, but
Mhm.
again, you'll have time to actually approve whatever that percentage is later.
And we don't know what the final percentage will be, because as you know, on the electric, that is state approval. We've assumed it might be 5% additional, but we don't know what it'll be until we get to the end of the process, right? So that's what's hard about it, just to say that out loud.
The only question I have is on the approval of the water, it's just the water, it's not the sewer rates, water.
Correct, right now, we are anticipating, or projecting a 5% rate increase for the water department.
Mhm.
Knowing that it really doesn't cover, but we only wanted to, at least, because we had some other.
Yeah, you don't want to put it
pilots,
all on.
we don't want to do it all at once, and then I think we anticipate next year
Mhm.
having a portion of a rate increase for water, and then doing some sort of, inflation
Okay,
for sewer.
I'll make a motion to approve the electric, water and sewer budgets for Morrisville Water and Light for 2024.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I just would ask, is there anything that we hadn't seen? I read through it all sounded very familiar. I appreciate all the work, you guys all did to put it together and introduced it to us meeting after meeting. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean, it was well done, and you know, like I said, it all seemed familiar, but if there's something new in here, because you said, Scott, that we hadn't seen it all. So just wondering what you were referring to.
Just subtle changes, which Penny can give you a
Yeah.
few cliff notes on.
So yeah, I mean, you have at least seen a draft for each department, but we did
Okay.
we tweaked some expenses down on the electric department. In the G&A, like we dropped some of the consulting, outside service costs. I think that was the biggest thing. I think we modified a little bit between the capital and expense on the electric as well.
And the last time they hadn't seen, I don't think they had seen water get the 5% rate increase in it on the revenue side,
Well,
so that might
maybe
be
not,
something
yeah.
different. I think she was showing you.
No, I think we did, but I think my file, I felt like my file might have been a little messed up. The only other thing is there were some tweaks in grant revenue. You know, I added some grant revenue, and maybe adjusted the cash flow to have the money, if it's in the grant income, then it didn't come through on cash flow, because it comes through as part of the net income, but. And then I just wanna, you know, clarify that when you are approving these, you're also approving the capital budget, which the one thing you have not seen before is the capital budget in the format that we presented, which happens to be on this is page 28. And it just really lays it out between the electric, water and sewer. similar to what Scott had done last year, I put it in a format of kind of how we're gonna fund it, whether it's from the actual operating cash, whether we have internal financing, vehicle.
And where you saw this last time is that all of these capital projects in aggregate were in one way or another shown in the cash flow statement. And you just broke it out into a more detailed capital budget, so you could see it in more granularity, if you will. It was not new, but it's more granular, is what I would say.
Any other discussion?
Oh, okay, let's do these three first.
All right, all in favor of approving the electric and water and sewer budgets for water and light for 2024, say aye.
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 Let's have it. Next is the electric rate, right?
I'll make a motion to approve the increase of the electric rates by 2% across all towns.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the increase to the electric rates by 2% across all tariffs, say aye.
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 Ayes have it. And next, the 5% across.
I'll make a motion to approve the water rates by 5% across all towns.
I'll second.
And I just want to clarify, so basically we'll be upping the customer charges, upping the usage, we'll up the pumped rate out
Yeah.
there, the bulk rates as well, so.
Okay. And the only other thing I'd add, just so it's on the record, and I know we said this last time, but it's helpful, just so you will say it out loud. When's the last time we increased water rates?
I believe it was 2015.
2015, so 9 years.
Yeah.
Just
And
to say it out loud.
The plan after this, after tonight's meeting, we will get a bill insert together. And it'll go into the February bills. Maybe we can put it into our cycle 3, but it'll definitely go into the February bills.
Keep in mind with water, it does not require any state approval, so when you vote for this, it's done.
And again, that's effective April 1st.
Yeah.
Or the bills in April.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the increase to the water rates by 5% across all tariffs, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And Tom, I did realize there's one motion missing, and that is because this budget for the electric department is utilizing the Vermont Transco dividends that was purchased by the Green River Funds money. We just need a motion that says that we have authority to use the dividends in 2024 for operating,
Not the fund, but the dividends.
just the dividends.
I'll make a motion to authorize the use of the Transco dividends for 2024.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
All in favor of approving the
Use of the dividends.
use of the dividends for 2024, say aye.
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 Ayes have it. Thank you.
And just to remind you, and really for the public record, that helps keep rate increases low. Usually though, we can have in the budget, it makes the rate increase small. So it's good to store those for a rainy day, but since we're already having rate increases, why not, try to keep the rate increase as low as it can be, right? So, thank you all very much. I know that's a big ask this year and we really appreciate it.
Okay, other business, annual meeting planning.
All right, believe it or not, annual meeting is on its way to you.
Did we lose Travis?
Yeah, he was on for like 5 seconds and then was gone,
I think
so
he might have had a power outage or something, I don't know.
something was going on. So, let's see, so it will be, what did I write this year, April something? April 10th.
It's 8.
check your phone, I wrote April 10th, I don't know why. Anyway, I asked Sarah to reserve the VFW, that seemed to work well last year, I know historically you've done in the, Navy building, but there's just a little more room there. Oh, so it'll be April 8th, I was wrong. All right, so, it'll be at the VFW, so we've got a few things to start working on. We don't have anything from Sarah yet, not surprisingly on the budget or the tax rate stuff. I have three things to two things to chat with you about. With most trustees here, we probably won't bother trying to do a group photo tonight. But first is the dedication. This really is your purview. We did, the one idea we have for you is we did have a longtime employee retire this past year, Frank, and so we thought of him as a possible recipient of that honor for the dedication. David would certainly have to help us a lot. We didn't have to do the pretty writing, but he'll have to do he and his folks will have to do all the story writing if you like that idea. Or if you have different ideas for dedication, this is really something that's your purview, but certainly we think Frank's deserving, been here a long time, really one of those guys that would just do anything that needed to get done around here, which is really important. You need those blue people that will just pick up whatever needs to get done. And so that's our thought, but it really, again, is your purview. So if it doesn't have to be an individual, it can be, an issue in town, a cause celeb, somebody else that did some great things, that's just the idea we brought in.
I'm good with Frank. I think well deserved.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
All right.
I'm fine with
All right, well, hearing them, we don't need a motion on that, we'll just do it. We'll get
I would
working on. Thank you all. And then, as we start, the first thing Sarah's gonna ask me is there anything else for the warrant? Is there any special discussion we wanna have at annual meeting this year on any topics? Any other ways we wanna raise money? Penny and I toyed around with do we need to ask for, or we're gonna reach any caps where we have to ask for additional borrowing authority? We don't think so this year. Some year we're gonna get to the state cap on that and ask for a bond issue. Someday we may actually do a consolidation of current debt into a bond issue to lower interest rates and things. We don't think we're there yet. We think we need to get a few more things done, like get the hydro stuff done, get some of the improvements we're making next year done, then maybe it's time to ask for a bond vote to do some consolidation, so we're not thinking about anything. If you thought it was important to start educating, the village, members about, all this crazy state policy and what's gonna happen to the electric system and the type and level of investment that's gonna be necessary, we could have a discussion item on that, you could also just do that from the floor without a warned item on the agenda too. So could be anything that's on your mind that you might want to have a conversation about. Most of the time we don't have them, so I'm not angling for one, but it really setting the warrant, we're gonna bring that to you for approval. So if there's something on your mind, if nothing else, I want to get you thinking tonight to make sure by the next time we meet that if there's something on your mind that we hear it.
Yeah, I think the warrant would likely have to be approved by March 6th, at your March 6th meeting, no later than,
All right.
would be my guess.
Was that right?
I don't know if you did, but I'm just, well, you say March 1st, but
Yeah,
I know it's,
well, that's when they meet March 1st.
I think so.
Calendar did
I don't know what calendar you're looking at, but
That's in 2024?
I think so.
Oh, they put the budget.
I'm nuts, never mind. Listen to her
Hey,
on
Scott.
dates. Yes, sir.
May I ask a question?
Yeah,
In light of what is going on in the town with the shakeup with the select board and, in the past, us being called that we're doing things with smoke and mirrors and people questioning what we're doing, might it not be an idea for you to put together an encapsulation like you have done before with us at the board meetings and just warn it that you're going to explain why we're doing what we're doing and that 99% of this is out of our control.
Yeah.
I just think with some of the stuff that's going on with the select board and some
You're
of the
talking about the rate increases, Brad? Is
all
that
of,
what you're?
yeah, all of
yeah.
it, yes, Carl.
Yeah.
Because we're all of a sudden, we haven't had rate increases for years, and now we're gonna have electric rate increases, water rate increases. Next year, there'll be sewer rate increases. I can just see us getting hammered, and the people won't have any idea why we're doing this.
I was gonna ask about the same thing, Brad, so I'm with you.
And I would warn so that people who really wanted to know
No.
what we're up against could be at the meeting.
Good. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea, and I'm happy to do that. And, I think the more we talk about that with folks at the front end, it doesn't mean people still won't be mad when it actually happens. But when you kind of put public information out there really transparently, early and often, you still have a difference of opinion, which is fine. That's society, you need that in society. But you sometimes soften the edges of how angry people get when it becomes a more civil disagreement, if you will, which is, the best you can hope for, right? You don't want everyone to agree on everything. And
Well, I just think too that the faction in town that is complaining about all of these boards.
Yep.
Who just want to throw stones, it
Yep.
might blunt some of their criticism.
Yeah, I do think it would help for folks to realize just how complicated what you all deal with is. And how different it is from what other governance boards do in town. That will also help. I mean, even letting people understand where towns and villages have merged. The utilities all end up with their own separate commission anyway, just under the town government instead of the village. There's no fewer elected people, because the select board quickly realizes it's too complicated and they can't handle it. In addition to everything else, it's not that they're not capable. If they became trustees and learned it, the individuals could do it, but doing the whole becomes too much. And so like in Burlington, they have an electric commission. Linden and Lindenville just merged. They have a separate board of commissioners for their electric department. Trustees aren't dealing with it, and so that's what happens where these things happen. They think they're gonna get all this efficiency, and with utilities, it just doesn't come true.
I think maybe too, we need to address Green River because
Yep.
it's on nobody's radar.
Oh, yeah. Agree
Right.
with this.
And just like what you said about how we won't be able to lower it for a flood.
Yep.
Because of what the state's doing, I think that really needs to be out there. People just don't know.
Yep.
And they've just forgotten about it. or
So that's two
it's not
items
in their mind.
we'll put on a draft agenda for you.
We should put it on the agenda, John, to
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's so important. All right, well, we'll make sure we incorporate both of those topics, and again, you'll have both the first meeting. You have both meetings in February to think about this, add to this, and the first meeting in March, so we got lots of time to play and refine this, it's just, we're pulling this all together. It always feels like we have a lot of time, and then I'm sure, even though I've only been here for a couple of these, all of a sudden it feels like we're at the last minute and we have to approve it, right? So, so the way these things go. So. I
Got
think,
the annual meeting, one second, excuse me for interrupting. The annual
ahead.
meeting will be Zoom, won't it?
yeah,
No,
actually, no, I guess, no, we haven't historically done that.
you can't do, because it's a
Oh,
actual like a town meeting,
Yeah.
it can't be.
Can't vote on.
We only were able to do hybrid during that window of time during COVID,
But even then, not with the annual.
but not with the annual meeting, yeah, you're right.
Nope.
So, no, we can't on that, I don't think. We'll double check it, I know they passed some new laws last year around all this, so we'll double check if that changed. But historically, Penny's right, annual meetings you couldn't do virtually, any
Okay,
portion.
I'm not trying to open a can of worms anyway. Let
Yep.
sleeping dogs lie, that's fine.
Okay,
Okay,
that's all I needed on that.
management updates.
Kevin, you wanna go first? Sure. Always.
Kings Falls, hopefully A&E or ERG is gonna be up here maybe next month, probably March, to start putting it together. Ken's still waiting for the bearing on that horizontal. John and Mike were able to get the brake assembly replaced so that when it's here, I'm ready to roll, but just think he hasn't got his hands on the barge yet. We had a backup on, Brooklyn Street near Woburn Avenue. Minosh is, they've been really responsive with us for some of this stuff. And the Jersey Heights pump station, they did some boring a couple weeks ago, into last year, and they can only get down 7 and 11 feet, so they're looking at Plan B or running over some ideas. We're gonna meet them Friday to see what they've got officially even. So,
Wait, that's as far as I go down? Is that what we're
yeah,
looking at?
well, without having to drill and blast, which,
No.
right beside that old.
And how far down do
station.
they need to go?
18 plus, yeah, so.
It sounds like they have some proposals for us, so they want to meet with us Friday, so I think they found the workaround, but we don't know what that is yet.
Down at the wastewater treatment plant, the decanter valve issue caused the bugs to die off pretty bad at the end. Dan was bringing up 2 loads of sludge from John. They've got good bugs in there, so we'll get those in so we can reactivate what we got going on here.
Did you ever know like bugs?
You can't just buy the bug.
I think you
I
can.
used to buy them like in a 5-gallon can.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, you can, but why do that when we can get them for
Okay, you
free?
get them jumping, nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you ever think bugs die?
8,000 gallons. So 2 loads, 8,000 gallons. Minosh is hauling that for us. And Mike Green stopped by today and things are going well with the Bugby Springs logging operation. In fact, we got another check from the logger up to $13,351. So he's hoping that if weather holds, they'll work through most of the rest of this winter for sure. So,
What's he getting, mostly pine or?
everything. There's a market open now for pulp because apparently with all the flooding, wet flooding this summer, that nobody just will get in to get the pulp out. And he got into some red pine that there was a market that opened up for, so it's been good. And he's really hopeful for how it's gonna grow back and it's the best time to do it.
Any pushback from anybody?
No,
Good.
no.
And we did like door hangers and stuff just beforehand, just to let people know, so if they wanted to shout at us, they could do it before we started. So we didn't surprise anybody, everybody knew we were coming, which I think helps. We had one guy early on that thought maybe we ruined the spring up there, which, you know, these guys went up and with Mike, and it turned out it had been ruined long ago by somebody else, so that guy was fine. And I can't remember the guy's name, but I know you had an issue there.
Mr. Audi.
Yeah.
Never told me.
But it wasn't from this round of us doing anything, and he agreed with that after they talked to him.
Who was that, Mike Audi?
Yeah. So,
And when are they gonna be done? Are they done? Or are they still logging up there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got, as long as the weather holds and it's cold enough to be in there.
Yeah, I saw a truck, one of those log trucks pull up that road out. I don't know how he got up there, but he did. Holy cow.
They're gonna leave that road in after they're done.
Yeah.
Cause that's a great access to that stretch of the right of way now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything else? Any questions?
I would just note, Kevin has this note about this, Paul Davis inspection for homeless encampment, so that has to do with the court system, and when people get, get a citation for homeless camping there on our property, and then there's a court process where they're supposed to pay restitution, so, and now the defense has wanted to have detailed estimates from us, and it's gotten really complicated, so we got this company, 'cause I don't want our folks going up there picking up used needles and human excrement and stuff like that, so there's companies that do that, so that's what that note refers to, is getting estimates for what it would cost, kind of per event, when we need to go in on our property and clean up these encampments.
I doubt those people are gonna pay,
We know they're not, but
they're just making it more expensive.
Yeah, has there been any damage by any of them so far?
No, it's mostly, at least my understanding, is just trash and needles and human excrement and, and the impact of the community, which we actually just wrote a draft statement for Penny, because they want that too, like they want a victim statement. But the people that won't walk on that section of the railroad anymore, because they don't feel safe.
Yeah.
And anything we spend to clean it up everyone here pays for it. So why is that there? So but they required a victim statement from us, so we have to play the victim, but I hate being a victim.
But
To be
other
clear,
companies
there's two
involved
different-
too, right?
Yes,
Is there?
there's actually two different events, there's two different trespassers. And the
Yeah,
victim
this time,
statement
yeah.
is for one person that they want to spend some jail time, and so they're trying to get victim statements, but then there's the other one who we want this restitution, and they want more detail on the cleanup and.
Yeah. So just wanted you to know that that's going on, that's an unusual wrinkle, right, for what we do for work, and at the same time, that same stretch, we had been talking before the floods last year about the state possibly putting a fence the whole length of that. Because they wanna protect the rail trail, they don't want people to be scared to walk the rail trail. Then the floods happened and the rail trail got wiped out, so the state didn't have any money. The state still has potential interest in doing that, either this year or next. So we'll keep working with them, but it's about a mile, that strip we own up there is about a mile. And so we're not paying to put a fence for a mile, because that's a whole ton of money, and it's the state's rail trail facility. But they may be interested at some point. I've told them, I believe you all would be happy to sign an easement to let them put a fence on our property, to stop this from happening. So that may happen in the future, just so you know. And that may solve this, at least for us. Just means people get displaced to show up somewhere else, but they may not be on our property at that point. So just want to make sure you knew, I saw you put that on the list, to give you some color commentary on that one. Penny's the one that really deals with this mostly, Kevin chased down the estimates, but she ends up dealing with all this stuff. Or David?
Sure, Dave.
So we've obviously entered a little bit of a slowdown with the winter weather and the customer work. That demand has fallen off. So we're shifting gears a little bit here, which is the typical cycle we run through, and come winter time, the crews are doing some right-of-way trimming, trying to get we call them hot spots, where they're just areas that aren't necessarily gonna be the focus of our trimming in the coming year for our contractors, and it just keeps their ability to concentrate on the larger areas happening. So we've been doing a little bit of the right-of-way trimming. We've had quite a rash on carpool accidents on the southern end of our system. A couple of them for sure were Davies. Carpool accident down in Stowe with a Davie seems to be a standard event every year for us, especially around the holidays. We had a failure, actually a customer had a failure on their secondary underground at the airport. We were able to abandon the one location that service was connected to and get them to another transformer a little bit closer to their hangar and get a quick fix for them. We had our first foray into the mutual aid in a long time, and it was a very good first effort by our crews doing that. We had 3 guys initially with VEC, and then it was 4 guys with VEC. We kept one of our linemen, the on-call lineman, in reserve on our system for the first outage. As you know, Morrisville was spared any outages the last 2 storms, which was a good thing, and freed us up to do the mutual aid. We sent 2 crews to Lindenville. Got 1 crew started, the other 2 weren't needed, released, and then went back to VEC, and then everybody ended up working for VEC. That was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the way through till Monday morning, they finally got done.
This was the second storm, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good experience for them. Got a lot of accolades on their effort and their participation. I expect we're gonna be doing more of it in the future as our system allows us to travel.
It is worth pausing. I mean, I think you all know that we had this window where we had a really green team. I said to David today, I said, I think I'm right in saying that at one point he was our only Class A lineman. You know, so we couldn't do that, you know, we were actually always bringing people in to help us. And we were on call, we had Stowe for years helping us even meet on call. So to see these guys kind of get through the schooling, get their line hours, get Class A and be able to really be a participatory part of, you know, emergency response, which, you know, it really is just a testament to the work that Greg and Penny and David and everybody in the chain. And it took years to kind of get us back to where we needed to be. So, and it's also to all the guys that have been hired. Those guys are hard workers and they actually kind of thirst to do this, like, you know, they like it. So it's really just worth noting that it's been a long road back, right?
I'd like to thank you guys for being proactive with all the trimming and the maintenance. That's why we didn't have the outages.
It was a large contribution to that, I'm sure.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. It really is. I mean, the ones that we had back to back storms like that, we didn't get a flicker. Our lights didn't flicker once. It's just,
I mean, have they got everything back online over and on the hill in Cambridge?
Yep.
But it took a while.
A long time. They had one section of the Runway Bridge, was it 5 poles or 6?
Yeah.
was there a car accident up there?
Well, one pole was down and there was wires, at least the way I heard the story, and then the car went into the wires and
Yeah.
pulled so hard on it that knocked it off all the other poles, and that's at least how I heard the story.
It actually broke the other poles,
Broke them?
yeah.
Yeah. So it cascaded on, I don't know if that's the truth, that's how I heard the story.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's
You know, so. Yeah, I mean, we were hearing, I think the number I heard, Green Mountain Power was over 40 broken poles. BEC was over like 25 broken poles, and I only distinguish that because it's one thing to have a tree on a wire or to have a wire come off a pole. It's a whole nother thing, and David's the expert on this, not me, but when the pole actually snaps and you gotta rebuild the whole dang thing, that's a really different restoration than the other types, right? And, you know.
So they're gonna get those two down, is it two down at Stowe you gotta do? 2 poles?
That we gotta do?
No.
Adams.
Aren't you gonna have it on the Stowe?
Oh, yes, that was,
The one with the
we scheduled an outage,
landowner dispute?
yeah.
It's gonna take a while, we're still working through the legal process. It's not gonna be friendly and it doesn't seem, and, we're working closely with our attorneys to one step at a time, make sure we, you know, kind of build all the arguments that need to be built to make sure that eventually we'll get permission to go in there and replace those poles. It may or may not happen this month, we're scheduled to do it next week. We anticipate that there will likely be denied entry and then we'll have to take the next step. But we are scheduled, all notices have been sent and we're scheduled to do it, and we think we'll be denied entry. And if that happens, that just takes us to the next step. We have, the condemnation proceeding has officially begun, that has gone to the Public Utility Commission, and the notices to all parties have been sent out and received, so people know we're actually doing condemnation on that property. So that, I mean, you know, earlier we had to talk about some of these things in executive session because there was a potential legal proceeding. You know, right now, we've actually done it and we haven't been sued yet, so we can talk to you about it in this section, so. Yeah, so I don't have to be cagey with you. So yeah, that process is underway, and hate to have to go to that extreme, but you know, you gotta fix the transmission line. You can't have 70-year-old poles on a transmission line, and expect the transmission line to keep people's lights on.
and it's just replacing, it's not.
Just
It's not
replacing.
moving them anywhere,
Correct.
just.
Replacing. So we'll do what we have to do. It won't make us popular, but we'll do what we have to do.
Okay.
Yep.
Biggest thing for me is, you know, obviously we're working on budgets, year-end stuff, but, the new, invoice cloud platform, which I think it's going over really well. We're learning a lot. The reception of it's been better than I expected. We've only had a couple people that aren't really happy about having us not taking, payments over the phone anymore. You know, we had one lady that didn't want to put her credit card information online, but she was fine with bank account. So we had to walk her through how to do that. You know, we are spending quite a bit of time on the phone with some customers, getting them set up, and, the customers will come in and we'll walk them through it in the office as well. So the new credit card machine is great, because now the payment goes through and it automatically interfaces so that it automatically uploads to the account. Before we had to manually key all those credit card payments in, so that's been great too. So. Have you been on yet? Have you been on yet?
No, I put my name in the box on the front.
The one thing I would add, and Penny will correct me if I get the wrong information, but I'm pretty sure just the overall response by our customers, which, you know, both Penny and her team deserve a lot of credit for really working closely with people and getting the word out and all the training they did, but our customers do too, for being willing to be open to change. Like, I think her document says 11.92 at the point that she wrote this. I'm pretty sure she told me that the invoice cloud folks were shocked that and basically said we should be at like 1%, not 11+%.
In the first, like within the first month, like
So
a lot of people that, yeah.
Our adoption rate is off the charts, and they're kind of shocked at how many of our folks are.
In the first
adopting
month,
this
in the first
technology.
month, we're at like, I think we're close to 16% right now.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I'll tell you, one of the reasons I don't do it is, it seems like at least once or twice a year, somebody I do business with gets hacked, and I gotta get a new credit card, or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do? I mean, I gotta go and change
All
this
these
and
are-
change that.
Yeah,
I don't need one more.
yep, nope, I get it.
Yep.
Which is fine. Yeah.
We'll let you slide on that.
One other question for you, as I look up at the screen on Penny Jones, Kevin was Penny Jones, Tom was Penny Jones,
Oh, it's because
everybody was
it's
Penny
the
Jones.
login,
Okay, that's what it is.
it's the login, and this is, you just, it's a picture of all three.
Okay.
And it always defaults, so you have to change every time. I usually do that, and I
That's
forgot
okay.
this time. So now it says MWR. You've changed from Penny Jones to MWR.
There we go.
But it's because it's one, you can see it's one login,
Yeah, it's everything on the owl.
yeah, on the owl, yeah.
On mine, you know, first of all, Carl, if at some point the rest of the week, if you have a chance to drop in, we have, the paperwork for that construction loan for the vertical turbine that we need some signatures on, and we'll perhaps put it at Christie's desk. So you could just pop in sometime. There's 3 places we need for you to sign, if that's possible, since you're in town. Anytime, we just need to at some point get that in.
Not mute Carl, but, or, I don't know, could drop it off to him and then he drop, okay, never mind, forget
I'll hand deliver it to you, Carl.
it.
You're on mute, Carl.
We'll take care of it.
Yeah, okay.
Either way, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say it's Friday soon enough. I'll stop down Friday.
Friday's perfectly fine, I think. Is there anything, is that a problem for you? No, okay, Friday's fine. Thank you.
Does Tom get paid mileage?
And then I thought, you know, the things I had on my list, I would just thought I'd note to you, because I know it'll be an annoyance, so might as well talk about it. That, you know, this is the second time that, the Vermont Law Center has made what I think is a specious, filing to try to force FERC to force us to start complying with the 2016 water quality permit. You know, they really, everything they file has been asked and answered by FERC and rejected. And so they basically asked for a rehearing under another name, which they don't have the authority to ask for. So, you know, on these types of issues, we've tried to play pretty nice. And I just wanted you to know, I told Paul Nolan to come out swinging on this, because that's really just improper use of the regulatory proceeding to basically make another filing, ask the same things over again, and they've already been rejected. So we put in a pretty strong response that wasn't friendly at all, just so you know to that. Doesn't mean we don't wanna work with people, but, you know, you shouldn't waste everyone's time and energy on things that have already been ruled on, and that's essentially what they did. So we hit them pretty hard on that, as I wrote in my note to you. I expect that, and Paul expects that FERC will largely see the world through what we filed in response. Who knows, you never know, but you know, honestly, I'm not quite sure how we're supposed to comply with that until all the inundation maps are updated, and which we can't do until the state finishes their dam study. So we don't even have any information to do it, but we don't know if it can be done safely. And that was all in our filing, of course, and which was in our filing a year ago, when they first filed this. I don't even think I told you about the first time, because like, okay, this is annoying, but they're asking a question, they got rejected. We knew we'd win, we didn't. And now a year later, they filed the same thing, basically.
Is it the same group or just a different group using the same format?
No, it was the same group, it was the American.
But it's not the state, it's a white.
No, the state was not a party to it. It was VNRC, American Whitewater, the same group, filing the same stuff. So just wanted to let you know that that continues, and it was a pretty aggressive, bold thing. You know, Paul was kind of shocked that anyone would kind of dare to do that, because it was so, from his perspective, patently wrong.
So can you, I know if somebody keeps suing you as an individual, I mean, it becomes a nuisance, you can sue them.
He did raise the question of, I forget the term of art, but.
Malicious litigation.
Yeah, I think that's what he raised a couple of issues of that type to FERC, which could result in fines if they went that far. When I asked Paul what usually happens, he's like, FERC doesn't really want to go that far. You know, he thinks they'll likely pretty soundly throttle them for filing it, but it'll probably stop short of sanctioning them.
Well, there's no reason to stop doing it then if you don't get sanctioned.
I know, but you know, we live in a pretty soft, society these days, right? So, sorry to be blunt. So, but I just wanted to let you know what's going on, and, it's a pain, but that's what's going on with that, so.
Hey, any other business to come before the meeting?
Well, that's after any other business, yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to just talk about, I was at the, select board meeting, I think it was 2 weeks ago, or they were talking about the budget. And, somebody's complaining about the flags, and I know we don't buy them, and we just put them up.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if there's something that we could do. I know we have funds for people that request beautification. I don't know if they could go that route, but I think, their budget was like $1,000 for flags, and I think that's pretty.
The American flags?
Yeah, and they were complaining that some of them were ratted and torn and they're still being used, and I don't know if there's a way that we can help fund some flags, or if we can, I don't even know, but with the option, and also the Christmas lights. I know they need some updating, they need some maintenance, they're old, and I know we're an inclusive town, and I think we need to have other, it's just my opinion, but other, not just the Christmas tree and everything, and that, we're trying to be all inclusive, and maybe have some other ornaments or designs up there too.
I think we definitely could consider that as part of the annual funds, and,
Should Mac request that though?
we should probably work with MAC and or the town to request that. I think, well, my understanding of the history here, and folks have been around for a while, please correct me, but we like being the people that just put them up. Because then if people wanna have the debate about, this religion or that religion or another religion, or, we basically say, we're gonna put up whatever MAC tells us to put up, or the recreation department tells whoever's in charge of them, we're gonna put up what they tell us to put up, let them deal with all the politics. So that said, if one of those organizations was to make a request, like we like, $500 for new flags, and we'd like $1,500 for Christmas lights in the menorah to be put downtown, and this or that or the other thing, and you decide to do it, they've made policy, and we can still put it up, and you just give them some information to do it, right? So So I think we could definitely, figure out how to do that.
Okay.
I have to look, I think you can do it off cycle. Obviously, we do that right after annual meeting when whatever new appropriation is done, that's when we put out the open solicitation. I think there's a provision in there, I'd have to reread it, Bob, where we could just approach Matt and, and do something off cycle. I think we're allowed to, but I want to double check that. I don't know if you remember or not, but I think we can.
David, do you know where the flags have come from?
The town has been really pretty proactive up until just this last year with keeping the flags updated and fresh. Can't speak to it beyond that.
Okay, so just to be, yeah, so it's not, and I know you're trying to propose that Water and Light also help with the
Yeah.
funding, but it sounds like it's come from, like somebody
Oh, yeah,
else
yeah.
buys them and we just.
Yeah,
put them up.
well, that's the thing too. It looks like ours, it looks like Water and Light is doing it, and we're, just say, no, we just put it up, I don't like that, it's not a good answer. And I wanna, if there's a way to get around it, or, I know there's monies out there, and I think, like you said, maybe somebody coming in from the MAC or anyway, would be the best way to go.
Another one-time thing, I mean, you could even, and I know Penny's raised this in the past, and I've always did in the past, but we tend to take that surplus piece on annual rate, and that's what we open up to the public. You also have the whole principle. So if you wanted to reserve what we put out to the public for that public competition, you could still do that. And I'm just making up a number. If you needed $2,000 to do this with, you could take it out of the principal, which is not the original principal. It's the new principal as it's grown over the years. With inflation, it's over $100,000 now. I don't remember the number. We'd have to get that for you, but you don't even have to negatively impact the open competition is the point. You have the authority to spend down that number to a lower number. You haven't done it in recent history, but you have the authority to do that.
Okay.
If you want to.
For some reason, I thought the VFW gets involved with the flag.
Say the same thing. I know they have stopped by and given us a flag for our front office
When
when they've driven by and said it looks.
So maybe they got a line on them.
Well, let us talk with, I think Tricia's probably the person to start with. Let us talk with her and see, she'll tell, we don't need flags. Would it be helpful if we had help with Christmas and menorahs and whatever else people want to do? And yeah, I do know, I saw some of the posts that on Front Porch Forum that were implicating that we were doing something wrong, obviously.
Oh, they wanted to know where the angels went?
Yeah, those sort of things.
Well, it's with the budget talks, that's the low hanging fruit, that's the things that get cut, the money for flags, beautification, that's.
I do think the
Totally,
thing to
that's what
be
we-
a little careful of is, if you pick it up because you want to be a good person, all of a sudden it's no longer a town expense ever in the future, and there will be an expectation that we do it forever. So just, that's what you gotta weigh, and maybe that's a good thing, and maybe we should take it on, but the minute we create an escape hatch, it'll now be a village responsibility, to do that. Hard to put the genie back in the bottle. Put it that
Just to
way.
your point, Rob, I totally understand that people think it's a Water and Light thing, but that's an education thing too. Right, just educating people that it's not, we put it up, but
It's like
we
with the
don't.
banner thing, when we
Yeah.
talk about the banners, like, we have nothing to do with what's on the banner, we just put it up and.
Yeah.
What if we just fund the VFW with the flags and let them go to the town?
Well, there's two things, there's the flags and then there's all the lights, right? So, and that you brought up, so maybe the VFW deals with the flags,
So,
and we don't need to, but let us find out, right? And then there's the light thing that clearly has been a town funded thing, town/MAC.
well, that was Mac, right?
There's Mac, yeah.
Yeah,
Or I don't know who, remember when Eleanor came and they actually replaced all the bulbs with LED bulbs and.
Trish was involved in that.
Yeah.
Now, weren't those stored down the building that burned down?
No, they're stored here up in our mezzanine,
Okay.
right? I mean,
For a lot of years, they've been stored here. At one point, the Christmas decorations were in the building that's still standing.
Okay.
so, good, well, let us have a conversation with Trish and find out what the needs are, and then we can at least bring it back to you and see if you're open to kind of taking that on. I think once you take a piece of it on, you'll never lose it again. So just need to keep bear that in mind. I don't oppose it, and we do have through the Amy Way Fund, there's a way to afford to do that. It may mean some of you don't have as much to put out in competition, but that might be an okay thing to do, right?
Or there's always that article.
Right.
too.
We can also do an article, at our annual meeting in the future years to raise the money off the tax rate that way, and, so there's options is the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any reason to go to executive session?
Yep.
There is?
The reason is listed there. I forget
There
which
is.
one.
Okay.
Then the rest of
E.
stay.
Yep. Or you guys can stay.
Okay, motion to go into executive session at 6:35, say aye.
Alright,
Aye.
And I have, is Bob and Carl an okay, motion in second?
Yeah. Yes.
I need, are you okay, Carl? Can you second that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Right to it, didn't I?
It's okay, because Linda's gonna be able to say, who made the motions? Yeah, okay. And let me pause this.
Coming out at 6:42. Coming out of his executive session at 6:42. Got your motion to adjourn the meeting,
Make a motion to adjourn.
motion made,
second,
seconded. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
alright.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Brad.
Thank you.
warm,
Good
Brad.
night, everybody.
Good night.
And good-
Take care. Good night,
stay-
everybody.
Stay really warm, Brad. We're worried about you.
Working on it.